Well, it's often a fact of life that as moms, we tend to put everyone and everything ahead of ourselves, right? But making yourself a priority doesn't mean you're not a good mom. In fact, it can actually make you better. With us this morning is Kathy Sullivan, local author of the book, Moms Eat First, 5 Principles to Prioritize and Create the Change You Crave. Maybe I should just give this to my kids, Kathy, and let them read it so they really fully understand what I'm talking about. But she has just written this. It just came out on Amazon, hot off the press. So Kathy, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I think this is something like us moms have heard, but are we actually going to act on it? So kind of talk about the momgry. I like the hangry, the momgry. So it's like, where do we begin?
Well, I think part of what I talk about in the book around feeling momgry is really understanding your feelings. So, you know, what I refer to is I think some of the resentment that moms feel. And many times that's, you know, a factor of the
Guilt.
serving everyone else, right?
Yeah, I think maybe we feel guilty if we're not always at home tending to the kids, right?
Right.
So she goes by the 5 principles to create and sustain change, which is also very important. And I kind of want to go through those because they're reflection, rediscovering, reset, reclaim, release, and why they begin with the prefix RE.
Yes.
So explain that.
Well, when you think about it, we all set goals throughout our lives, and really it's about revisiting those things. So that was really, I think, why I wanted to make sure that the core of those principles started with RE.
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk through each of them?
Yeah, so I'll lead the first one, reflection. That's the key to self-preservation, but you arrived at a crisis in your mid-40s, and that's kind of where this number 1 started, right?
Well, the story that I share when I lived in Southern California was, you know, I was coming off a divorce, I was pregnant, my mom was dealing with cancer, originally from back east, so, you know, that was just the story that I shared throughout the book. And really how I applied those principles.
Yeah, second one is rediscovering possibilities is essential. I like how you write in here Dolly Parton's quote, find out who you are and do it on purpose.
Yeah.
So go into detail about how you talked about that in the second chapter.
Well, rediscovering is really about just thinking about what are the things that you want for yourself, and it's about exploring those opportunities minus any constraints. I think many times when we are trying to you know, achieve the vision that we have for ourselves or set goals, we think about the constraints that will prevent us from achieving that.
Right.
So it's
we
really
don't have
about
enough money, we don't have enough resources.
Right. So we have to open our minds.
And the third one is reset.
Yes.
So, like you talked about finding a new job. You loved your boss, you loved the employees that you worked with, but you had to pick up and move. And now Kathy's an Ohioan, but.
Yes. So resetting is about really thinking about the vision that you have for yourself, the goals that you have, and it's really about the change that you want to create for yourself.
Yeah. And so how do you start?
Well, the principles will help, right? So that's a framework, but it really is about identifying what's important to you, what do you value, and the resetting is about kind of honing in on getting clarity around what your goals are.
And you moved from California to Ohio. This was after your 2 kids, and so that was a big adjustment.
Big adjustment, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of changes, of course, and I think, you know, sometimes it's those life changes that kind of are a catalyst for people to make change.
Yeah. All right, and then you talk about reclaim your power with choice. So that fear of the inner voice, I think we all deal with.
Well, when you set goals, inevitably when we try to create change for ourselves, we experience adversity, and it's those opportunities, I think, that create our opportunity to kind of stick with what we're, you know, trying to accomplish and lean into that discomfort.
Right, and sometimes maybe ignore that. Right? That inner voice is not always a positive thing.
Well, we have to kind of explore what that inner voice is telling us, right? And maybe reframe what we're telling ourselves, because sometimes those stories aren't always fact.
Right, exactly. And then the last one is release what you can control.
Yeah. So I think for some moms, it's, you know, trying to do everything we can, do it just right.
Yeah.
And we have to learn, you know, what's not within our span of control.
And you talk about being a chief life officer, and so these principles will help you, but there's more to it than just that.
Yeah, so in the work that I do as a consultant and a coach, many times I'm working with organizations, we're looking at an org structure and an org chart, and there's an illustration in the book that kind of applies the same concept, if you will, just to look at the responsibilities that are required in a home.
Right. And this is such a great book, Moms Eat First. You have to pick it up. Even in the middle, like after every chapter, like she has places in it that you can write your own ideas.
some work.
Yeah, you are doing some homework and key takeaways. And so it's just a very interactive book as well. You can grab it. It is on Amazon. Again, it's Moms Eat First. So Kathy, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on your first book.
Thank you.
And you have many more in your future.
Thanks.
I can tell.